Hello, everybody. Welcome to the SoxProspects.com podcast. We are the web's #1 source for information on the Boston Red Sox from top to bottom, from Fort Myers to Worcester and all stops in between. And we are, in fact, in Fort Myers today as we come to you live from spring training. I'm Chris Hatfield. That's Ian Kundle. We are in the same house in different rooms for acoustic purposes. Welcome to the show. Ian, welcome to Florida. This is the best time of year for me, for the site-wise, by far. How are the vibes for you overall? Camp, the Sox Prospects Villa, et cetera, et cetera. What's the temperature check on Ian Kundle right now here in Fort Myers?
I'd have to look. I think it's set at 71 degrees right now, which is a little high for my liking, but some people don't like air conditioning for whatever reason. So can't I'm a team player, so I'll make some sacrifices. Or did you mean just with the trip in general?
It's times like this that I wish I had a suspension button.
I'm the one who should be suspending you for thinking that 71 degrees is an acceptable temperature for a residence.
Yeah, this is. You're part Eskimo, dude. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Sorry, I like being comfortable. I think that no, it's been a really good trip. I think that the vibes of Major League camp have permeated minor league camp. I think what we've been seeing is just kind of the next wave. And it's really, there's a lot of talent down there. There's been some really impressive performances these first few days. And it's been a lot of fun. I think everyone's feeling really good, which I don't know. It just feels different. Just talking to people in and around and just, kind of watching the players and everything interact just feels different than it has the last few years. I think everyone's just feeling like positive. So that's good.
Yeah, and I think that's helped by the fact that we're down here. You were down here for the first day of minor league games, but then Thursday night was the spring breakout game. Today, we're recording this on Friday the 14th, was, I guess, technically the Futures at Fenway South game, which was
spring fake out game. That's much better. It's a much better title.
Who is that, an Ianism?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that is.
Nice.
I came up with that earlier today.
Good for you. Did you say it on the radio?
No, I should have. That would have been smart.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. But yeah.
I referred to it by his proper name on there.
Okay, excellent. Well,
even though
good.
Can we be honest? That's a little of a mouthful. Like Futures at Fenway South.
Futures at Fenway South. Yeah, they should have a name sponsor afterwards too. Brought to you by, like the Rose Bowl presented by AT&T or Vizio or whatever it is now.
Brought to you by Eddie's Goat Milk or something.
Eddie's Goat. Well, yeah. But I don't want to steal their bit. But I guess it's kind of our bit now because the internet lashed out at Jared for the AI song that I thought was pretty good. But anyway,
I don't even know what you're talking about, so we'll continue.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, it's been anyway. The point I was making is those two kind of showcase events happening have brought a lot of heat, both from national media, from scouts. The Red Sox playing the Rays in the spring breakout game was huge because those are two top farm systems. So there were a ton of scouts in attendance. There were a ton of media in attendance. Got to see folks from MLB Pipeline and MLB.com, Baseball America. There were a lot of folks in the house for that game as well as there today.
It's understandable though, because I'm going to give MLB credit. The spring breakout game is the best thing they've created in years, and they should be doing more things like this and emphasizing it even further because the talent we saw on display between the Rays Red Sox game last night is just not something you ever get to see basically anymore. The Rays, the quality of pitching, and I tweeted about it, the velocities you're seeing out of these guys, and it was both teams. The Rays basically threw their top 6 pitchers, I think, or 5 pitchers yesterday. Mm-hmm. And the Red Sox, obviously, between these 2 days have thrown pretty much everyone, all of their top arms also. But in that specific game, you just don't get to see Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, Christian Campbell facing, back-to-back potential top 100 types.
Right.
And then on the flip side, you get Chandler Simpson and Carson Williams facing the same thing. And you just don't, you don't get very many games with that level of talent on both teams. And it was a ton of fun to watch. And talking to scouts today who saw it, they were just floored by the talent on display in that game.
Yeah. At a time when we're hearing from so many people about how talent is down around the minor leagues, right? Which, you could.
Well, I think it is. It is in the sense that I think it's the depth is the issue. There just isn't as much depth. It's the top. Maybe it's not reaching the heights of past levels, but maybe guys like Roman Anthony are going to ascend to that level, and people are just wrong right now about it. Like, we don't know. But I think it's more what you see it is like when you get down to like low A and you're looking at guys, 15 to 20, whatever, 15 to 30, or I don't remember how many people are on that roster, but it's like the back of those rosters, the back of those pitching staffs. That's where you feel the real weakness. Same thing applies in Greenville, et cetera. It's like the back of the rosters, I think, is getting weaker.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is, but it's also just like it's the focus, right? I mean, what guys are focused on too. I don't know, but at any rate, that's what we're here to talk about today, is what we've seen in these showcase games the past couple of days. But first, we've got some preliminaries. Spread the word. Tell a friend. Tell the guy sitting next to you in the stands at the showcase minor league baseball game. Tell the bird that flies into the broadcast booth while you're on the radio about the podcast. That's what I should have done.
I mean, yeah, I'm stunned. I was about to jump in and say, tell your friendly neighborhood pigeon or something, because you're just burying the lead here, which is we'll
talk about it in a minute.
Okay.
Let me finish this. We'll talk about that in a second. Also, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you listen, iTunes, Spotify. And you can also support us on patreon.com/SoxProspects and get some perks for your support of the show. And send your emails to podcast@SoxProspects.com, because we're going to talk about what you all want to hear about. And hopefully what you all want to hear about is spring training minor league baseball games, because that's what we're here to talk about today after some aviary talk. So, yeah, last night I'm in the booth with TC and with Rob Bradford doing, I think I did 3 innings of the game with them. And we're sitting there minding our own business when I notice a bird kind of flitting about outside the window, looking like it's trying to get in. And it then just flies into the open window and lands on TC's computer. It's like a pigeon. It wasn't like menacing us or anything, but you see this bird just flap its wings and just, fly its way into the booth and perch. I didn't know if I knew it was just going to sit there, I would have been fine. But I'm saying, I don't know if this thing's going to try and attack. I mean,
you got flustered. Just admit it.
I did not get flustered.
Yes, you did. You didn't take a photo of it. I was
trying to protect my fellow compatriots in that booth. TC is a national treasure. Rob Bradford is a national treasure, and I cannot be responsible for not helping them when a bird is menacing us.
Yeah, I mean, we saw 3 way more intimidating birds at that ballpark earlier in the day. You got flustered by a pigeon.
We saw an osprey, yeah, but we didn't see
a kestrel eating a lizard
but
in the ballpark.
And none of them were in the booth at that time. That booth was tiny. You had the nice booth today at JetBlue. That booth, I was shoulder to shoulder with Rob and TC.
Yeah, but you didn't get a photo. I mean, so no one actually believes that this happened. Is I think the biggest issue. This.
Well, there is audio evidence on Sox Booth's Twitter account.
I mean,
You're calling TC a liar? I think I just heard you call TC a liar.
No. I think that's what I was going to make a conspiracy theory joke, but then I realized there's enough of that going around, so I'm not going to. But
that's not funny.
But yeah, no, I would have liked photographic evidence, because it would have been an incredible photo of the game going on behind with a pigeon. And you know what? We can create some
foul.
We can create some. Just ask AI and they'll create you one.
I now kind of want to see what Grok will send me.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, I mean, it'll involve leveling a rainforest in the Amazon to do it, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. I mean, we're already destroying the planet's resources, keeping this igloo of a house at a temperature that you like. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, that was my excitement last night. But there was a lot more excitement on the field. We had home runs from the big 3, including one of the hardest hit balls I've seen in person from Roman Anthony, which that video of him where they catch the guys that were chirping him all game, calling him overrated, right before he sends one to the moon in right field, is one of the most amazing short form videos I've ever seen. It deserves an Oscar, I believe.
I mean,
it's cinema.
The bat flip was awesome too.
Yeah.
He knew it. Well, but you're getting ahead of yourself.
I'm just saying I'm just saying the highlights. I mean, there's the home runs. There's, I don't know, where do you want to start? Let's start with spring breakout, I guess. Just top to bottom, a fantastic lineup. I mean, do you want to go player by player, or do you just want to go highlights? How do you want to do this then?
I think for the breakout, I would go player by player.
All right,
just kind of talk about it.
Well, but the big 3 are at the top of the lineup, so that's what I did.
Well, sure. But no, I would go player by player, because That game, it was like a little more, I would say, structured than today, which we'll get into in a little bit.
God, yes.
Yes. So there was a lot, it was a lot easier to kind of follow because it was on TV. So they had to play. It was a real game, basically, except for the Brandon Clarke thing, which we'll get into. But
that's spring training.
Right, but I guess they do that in Major League Spring Training games too.
They did that the other day with
They don't roll innings like they did in the game today, for example.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, Anthony. So Roman Anthony he had 3 at bats. I believe he was 1 for 3 with a fly out and a pop out. And as you said, the home run it was remarkable. If you want to see it, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere on Instagram and Twitter. Yes,
it's on the Sox Prospects Instagram video shot by myself.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yep. And it was off of Santiago Suarez, who's a good Rays prospect. You know, he's one of their better pitching prospects. He was like 95 to 97, and Roman Anthony was not fooled at all by a 96.7 mile per hour fastball. No. Up and in, and he just absolutely annihilated.
In 96 out 111.
Yeah, 110, 111. So it was 110 point something, obviously, because it got rounded on the MLB broadcast.
I want to say 0.7. I don't know where I'm getting that from, but anyway, who cares?
But 435 feet. I think it might have been longer. Like I think it got
longer.
They said it. Someone said it. It said to me today. I was talking. Said that it hit the roof out in right field at Port Charlotte.
I thought it
left the stadium completely.
No
but
question.
Either way,
it cleared it. I could see it. I was in the booth. I had a better view. I thought it cleared it.
But I mean, that was and the craziest thing was that was the 3rd home run of the game of the big 3. He completed the bat trick. Christian Campbell got on the board first, and both him and Meyer went back to back. And I think, you know, it wasn't a big crowd. It was probably okay. It was fine. Would you say it was a little less than what we saw with the MLB game earlier in the day there?
It was definitely less than the MLB game, but it was a good crowd.
Yeah.
But I'd say today's announced attendance was like 5,100, and it was definitely more than that.
There was a lot of Red Sox fans there, though.
Smaller park, though.
Yes, much smaller
Port
park.
Charlotte has a much smaller park.
But I think when Christian Campbell and Marcelo Meyer went back to back, I think the stands kind of lost it with the Meyer home run because everyone was kind of on a high with the Campbell thing because that was really the first thing that had happened in the game. Up until that point, I think the pitchers had kind of been dominating.
It had been a fairly boring game to that point. From a fan perspective, right? Like there's just not a lot happening, and then that kind of broke it open.
Well, but it was for good reason. It was because there was good pitching.
100%. Yes, I'm not saying it was a bad game. It just wasn't super exciting.
But then Campbell got it was from Trevor Harrison, who is another really good Rays prospect. He is a massive human being, probably like 6'7", 6'8". He was throwing 96 to 98 with a really tight, like short slider. And Campbell gets up there. This is his second bat of the game now. Gets a 1-0 fastball at 96 miles an hour, up and away. And this is what we saw from him last year. It's something he hadn't been doing this camp. I feel like in camp, it was a pitch he would have just rolled over to shortstop. But he stayed back, kept his hands back, and just exploded through the ball, drove it out to right center field, which is, I think, the biggest part of the ballpark there. For like a line shot. Like that thing barely got above. It was not like a towering fly ball like Roman's was. This was just a line drive that just carried.
Yes.
But I think it illustrated like the fact that he can stay back that long and explode through the ball to get it out in that direction is really impressive. But it's also that, he just hits the ball so hard when he's on, right? And that it was I think the best swing he's had this spring that I've seen in the games I've watched. And it was just, it was a reminder of what Christian Campbell can do when he's on, when he's right, like he was last year when he's cooking. So nice to see him get on track. And then Marcelo Meyer followed with, I would say, in terms of like impressiveness, it was the least impressive of the 3 home runs, but they're all obviously impressive home runs. Yeah. But he got a fastball down and in like that sweet spot for the lefty uppercut swing, and he just golfed it out to right field. It wasn't like Roman's where it's just a majestic like moonshot. This one got out pretty quickly, probably, a little bit over the fence, but it was 98 mile per hour fastball. So Myers turning on 98 and on the hands, and he just makes everything look so smooth. And it's just nice to see him healthy again because the actions, in the field at the plate, everything is just so smooth and easy for him. And it was good to see him just that, easily just turn on 96 or 98 and just drive it out.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because like with Campbell's, it wasn't clear it was going to get out, just because it's like if it starts to go down, it will not clear. Whereas Myers, I think it was a little bit clearer it was going to get out, at least from the perspective up in the box. So I don't know if
Yeah, because
that was
Myers
how it
was
would
higher.
get there.
I thought as soon as Campbell's got hit, I knew it was out because I've seen him put that swing on a ball before. Um, but yeah, I thought I mean overall it's just a very cool, to be able to see all the big three homer in the same game was very cool. And it's obviously something that I think Red Sox fans are hoping and they get to see very soon at Fenway Park, because it's going to be a lot of fun when you have guys, with that ability up in the major leagues, which is probably coming sooner than we think.
100%. I will say, just maybe doubling back to Campbell, did have a little bit of a rough night in the field. Had a couple
Yeah.
plays where
I would say Anthony wasn't exactly looking center fieldish either.
yeah, he had a ball that he dove and didn't get to
He
it.
should
If I
have caught
remember
it. It was a
right,
bad route. Yeah.
yeah, it was a bad route. Um, Campbell had a couple balls hit to him, one or two that he booted, and another one where he was able to get a double play ball to short or to Meyer
Well,
at
but it was a
second
really
base.
slow turn
It was,
on
but it
his
was a
part.
very slow turn. Like it was a double play ball that was turned into a fielder's choice by Campbell.
Yeah.
I think I would say. Even if it wasn't coming at him so hot, like you got to have the presence of mind to maybe charge it a little bit and get the ball out quicker. He said he just kind of waited on it a little bit, if I remember right, and just kind of fielded it off to his left and had to turn to his right.
Well, no, I mean, he did the fundamental turn. It was just he didn't get a
Slow.
lot on the throw.
It was
And
slow.
yeah, it was just the actions were slow. Like
Yeah.
I wrote down, I said the range looked a little fringy because there was a ball to his left that he didn't get to, or I think he just knocked it down when it was one I thought he should have got to. But again, like with Campbell, we've talked about that he only played 30, 40 games at second base last year. And in college, he was a shortstop. So it's still, I mean, I know it's not a new position to him, but it's something that he just doesn't have a ton of experience playing in. And I think this game also, like, I can't remember who was at the plate, but the Rays had some guys who could really run in this game, including like the fastest guy in the minor leagues and another guy who's up there as among the fastest in Homer Bush.
Yep.
So they could really move. And I just think when you have that level of athletes, for the most part, there were a couple exceptions on the Rays team, but even Carson Williams, like guys like that, you kind of speed yourself up a little bit. And I think his internal clock is still getting calibrated at second base to how long he has for certain plays.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, yeah, versatility's nice, but when you've got a guy who's rocketing to the majors that quick, pick a position and have him become expert there. You don't want to be jack of all trades, master of none on defense, right? Like there's being able to play a lot of positions, and then there's being able to play a lot of positions at a major league level. And so I'd like to see them maybe have him focus on a position this year. If that's in the majors, then super. But like even if in the minors, I'd like to see him get a position and focus on it. It kind of puts the whole thing of putting him at shortstop last year in an interesting perspective too. Like, would he have been better off at second? I don't know. Maybe he's better off learning short too and seeing if it'll work there. But it's interesting looking back on that, and you wonder if he'd be better. He would have been better served just sitting at second base the whole year, or sitting in left the whole year, or something. I don't know. Interesting to look back on and think about. But it is what it is. Meyer looked fine at short. I don't know if he got any plays yesterday. Really, he looked fine today on the couple that I remember as well.
He had one that was hard hit that he didn't. That was like up the middle. But I don't think like the only guys who were getting there like probably 65, 70 defenders. It wasn't one that I expected him to make.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was playable, but not one that I'm upset he didn't get to.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that was fine. All right. So beyond the big three, I guess staying in the lineup, Ian. Some other standouts. I mean, focusing solely on the spring breakout game. Who else was? I think Justin Garcia. Who else? What was the rest of the lineup? And then we'll hit on some highlights. I think it was Joe Stinson Garcia fourth.
Yeah,
Joe Stinson. Apparently now I keep forgetting how we're supposed to pronounce it. Joe Stinson Garcia.
Then Mikey Romero, Blaze Jordan, Miguel Blaze, Brooks Brannon, and Ronald Rosario.
And Mikey Romero was at third. I don't think he got it. Did he get any plays over there? I don't remember seeing him have to make any plays at third.
No, I mean I didn't write anything down, so it was nothing noteworthy.
I don't remember him getting any action over at third. It's possible he did. If he did, it was a routine play. Where do you want to go next? Your dealer's choice. Do you want to talk about Romero? Do you want to talk about Garcia? Garcia, I've got stuff on defense to talk about. He had a couple of really strong throws that were noteworthy, but
yeah, I mean, I think overall the Red Sox lineup didn't do a lot. Like they had the 3 home runs and then they had 3 other hits total. Mikey Romero had 2 of them, which is I think kind of a carryover what we've seen from him in the Major League Spring Training games, where Alex Core's been really talking his praises.
Yeah.
And he's just looked very comfortable. And I think that's what it is he just looks so much more comfortable than he did this time last year. He looks noticeably stronger. It seems like in his lower half it is a lot more filled out, and his upper body, his arms look big.
Amazing what having a healthy offseason will do for you.
But that's what I was going to say is like, this was his first, kind of normal offseason in probably his Red Sox career. Yep. And so for him to be able to come into camp looking like that and, translating on field, he's kind of starting to get back to what we saw when he was for why they took him in the first round, when he was kind of, a very hitterish, intriguing infield prospect. Whereas last year, I thought he did some good things and it was an impressive season. But when he got up to Portland, he kind of seemed to get away from himself. Like he was hitting for a lot of power, but he had, I want to say, like 2 walks and 40 strikeouts or something.
Yeah.
He was just striking out a ton and not walking. And it was just weird. It was basically home run or bust, and which was not normal for him. And I think what we've seen from him this spring is a lot more, back to what I expect, where he's making a ton of hard contact. It's line drives all over the field. And now he's strong enough where, which we'll get to in a little bit, he can still hit it over the fence. So I thought Romero looked really good. He had a couple, it was both singles. One was on a slider that he was jammed on it, but he was able to pull his hands in enough and muscle it to right field. Then the other one, he got a 3-1 fastball, and he just hit a really hard ground ball up the middle. Good swing, just good 3-1 swing. So yeah, I thought it was a really nice game from Mikey Romero.
Seems confident too. It just seems like there's this swagger there that maybe wasn't there, at least in spring training of last year.
This is a big pedigree guy. Like he looks like he belongs. He's someone that I think is
California kid,
is likely to rise up in these season start rankings for us because he's underranked right now. I would say
he won't be 13th. That's for sure.
No,
yeah, he's going to move up. Definitely. Who else?
The only other hit was Brooks Brannon, and I'll say about Brannon,
Thor.
He's jacked like beyond belief.
He's Thor.
His swing isn't as like loud as you would expect for him.
No, but he whips the bat.
His bat speed is there. I think the approach and the contact skills are a work in progress.
Yes.
But his single was like a missile, a really hard line drive on a slider that he made. He had a really good swing on it. So that was impressive. I think, as I said, the bats were pretty quiet because I'm looking at the Rays arms right now, and they are like Jackson Bohemister 94-97, Trevor Harrison 96-98, Santiago Suarez 95-97, Gary Gill-Hill 95-96, Trevor Martin 93-95. Like they were all huge, like 6'6", 6'7" for the most part, and all throwing hard. So it was a tough day for the bats.
Yeah. They still I don't even remember. They won, right?
No, they lost.
They lost, right? Because I remember they were trying late. I think didn't Drew Earhart put in this like super long at bat to end the game?
Do you want to try that again?
Zach Earhart. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna stop doing that. I really need to do better. Zach Earhart.
Confession. I almost called him Cole Brannon earlier in the day. So,
don't be mean to the guy. But anyway, yeah. So Zach Earhart put in this like 10 pitch at bat,
and he walked.
He wound up walking. Okay, I couldn't remember if he made the last out or not.
No, he did make the last out. Yeah. Cespedes was on deck. Sorry, he walked in his previous bat. Yeah, you're right. Because they had like I think they had 2 runners on or something at the end of the game.
I think they had 1 runner on. I want to say there was a guy on first because but he was maybe there wasn't. I can't remember. Whatever. At any rate, like the bench was into it. These guys the game did mean something to them, right? Like this wasn't just it's a showcase. We're going to go out and get our.
People were trying really hard. Like
they weren't just out there to get their reps. Yeah, and look, they did do the full line change.
There was no one on base. He just had a 10. He just had a good at bat. Right. That's what it was.
They did the full line change. You had Franklin Arias got in at short, Yolan Cespedes at second. Who got in behind the plate? Was it Cleaver Salazar that came in late, a catcher? In the outfield, or Zach Earhart came in. Who else? Justin Gonzales was going to hit, but he wound up not hitting. No, he got an at bat at DH. He pinch hit for Brannon, I recall, right? Who else came off the bench? Who am I forgetting? Do you have them all or no?
Yeah, no, I have the box score. That's everyone. Because it was Earhart, Cespedes, Arias, Gonzalez, Salazar.
Okay, fair enough. So, they did go to a bunch of guys on the bench, but all in all, just a terrific event, Ian, at least to see all those hitters. Pitching, on the other hand, not on the other hand, but on the other side of things, also pretty good. It's been great for the 2 days. Last night, it was Connolly early, followed by why am I blanking? Who followed? Oh, by Brandon Clarke, then Brandon Hunter Dobbins, and Blake Wehunt closed. I believe was the four pitchers, and I'm missing Cooper Adams, who came in and did the fireman act for
Yeah,
one of those innings.
They used 5 pitchers.
Yep. So it was Cooper Adams was the other one who came in when Clarke didn't finish his final inning, I believe. Oh,
nope,
no,
he didn't finish his first inning, and then he came back for a second.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess let's take it from the top. Let's start with Connolly early, a guy who I really wanted to see, had some buzz, looked pretty good. I liked what I saw out of him. What'd you see?
I thought he looked good. He threw 3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, no earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. All the runs came after. I think it was the Campbell error. I believe it was a Christian Campbell error.
I believe that's right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but I think the most noticeable thing was his velocity was up. He was 93 to 95, like touching 96, which is a definite increase from last year. I'm trying to bring up what he was last year right now. But
I want to say he was 91 to 94. I think that's what we had in our scouting report.
Yeah, no, I was just going to bring up the average though. I was curious what it was. It was patience is a virtue. It was 92.7. He was what he averaged last year. So he was sitting above what his average fastball velocity was last year for the year. So he's made some definite gains there. Backs up what we heard. I heard he was up to 97 from some people. So right around there, he's up. I had him at 96 in this game. So velo's up. And I think that the reason I like that is his best pitch is his changeup. And if he's throwing harder, but he can keep that changeup, right? It was like 82 to 85. If he can keep that separation, like it's only going to make the changeup even better. It's going to make the changeup play better. And that's his best pitch. Unfortunately for him, there were basically no righties in the lineup. So he didn't get to use it that much, which was interesting. So he was having to throw a lot of breaking balls, which is I think something he's still definitely working on. He was throwing 2 breaking balls, slider cutter hybrid thing. You can, whatever you want to call it. And then a sweeper. And he got some whiffs on the sweeper. He had a couple good ones, but I think you just finding consistency, because he had some trouble landing that in the zone, is going to be key for him this year. So yeah, I think that that's going to be a key for him is finding consistency with those breaking balls, because to complement the changeup, which I think the changeup, as I've said before, is a plus pitch. I think it's a major league quality out pitch. And now it's about, the fastball is taking that step forward that we needed. And now it's about if he can find that third pitch, that breaking ball that can get, to average-ish or even a tick above. You're talking about a guy who could have, couple average pitches and a +1, or maybe the fastball eventually gets to like a 55, 60. Like, it's the makings of a starting pitcher. So it's especially with his command and control profile and athleticism. So I was very impressed with what I saw from Connolly early, and someone who I'm definitely high on heading into the season.
It seems like another guy that can rise in our initial rankings. That seem right to you?
Yeah. He especially, I mean, we've talked about how important being able to develop starting pitching is, and he's got the makings of a starter. So definitely somewhat interesting.
Yep. First out of the bullpen, second pitcher in the game was Brandon Clarke, another guy we've heard a ton about. Came out throwing some heat. What was he, 98 to 100? If I'm remembering right, or
we don't round up here. He was 97 to 99.
Okay,
he hit 99.8, but we don't.
I was just remembering. I think I was remembering Valera today.
Yeah.
But throwing some heat.
Spoiler alert! Jeez, way to jump ahead of yourself.
We don't jump ahead here either. But
I mean, you just did. We're not even done with Friday yet.
We don't have a suspension button. Thursday. We're not even done with Thursday.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Brandon Clarke threw really hard. What did you see? Because I think I agree with you on what kind of my overall assessment was of him. It's impressive. It was cool to get to see him for the first time, because the guy didn't pitch it all last year. It was fun, but I think I have a similar assessment to yours. So why don't you go ahead?
For a first look, it was impressive. He struggled pretty immensely in the first inning. I think he only got he faced 4 batters and threw 25 pitches or something.
Yeah.
So he got removed from the game. Then he came back in the next inning and was much better. I think he struck out the side, I want to say, in the second inning. But he was 97 to 99. As I said, he touched 99.8. So just under 100. It's a huge fastball. Like, it's a power profile. He's 6'4". I think he's bigger than that, maybe 6'5", 220, 230. I'm actually curious. I don't have it in front of me what he's listed on the roster.
I'll grab it.
but it's a huge arm, like explosive fastball, super quick arm, just whips the ball through the zone. Secondary stuff was, came and went. He was throwing what I thought was a slider and a slurve, excuse me, and a sweeper. But they kind of ran into each other a little bit. Like the slider was like 86, 85 to 88, and then the sweeper was 81 to 84. But it definitely, I think the secondary stuff is going to be where, and the he threw a change up a couple at 88 to 89. Definitely a work in progress there. They were pretty firm, didn't have a lot of movement. And the delivery's got some effort, but I mean, it's early. Like there's a lot of things that they can iron out there. And I think just the velocity and the arm strength just really stands out with him.
He's listed at 6'4", 225.
Okay. Yeah. I think he's bigger than that, but
I do too.
But no, I mean, it's for what you can't really have much of a better first impression stuff wise, than a guy throwing that hard with, especially that second inning. That was really where it came down. Cause in the first one, the first inning he went, it seemed like maybe, and I wonder if there were like some nerves here. It was, he gave up like a ground ball single, line out, walk on a pitch clock violation, which the ump was itching to do that. It was pretty interesting. And then he gave up another single, and that was the end. That was it. And then I think Cooper Adams allowed a couple inherited runners to score, and that was where the damage. And then he comes out in the second inning, and I'm like looking at the chart I have. It's like, strikeout, 99 mile per hour fastball, strikeout, tight 85 mile per hour breaking ball, single on a fastball that I think was a good pitch. It was just like nice piece of hitting because it was Petrie, the Petrie dish had a nice swing there, and then strikeout on a 98 mile per hour fastball that he elevated. And it's like, oh yeah, if you can throw 98 and 99 and then you can snap off like a tight 85 mile an hour breaking ball, that we'll find a way to make this work. So whether it be as a starter or reliever, I'm not going to call it this early, like it's one spring training appearance, but I was overall, this stuff is very impressive.
Yep, for sure. I mean, it's again, you don't want to call it either direction, but it's like for some reason I just closed my eyes and he's throwing late innings, but who knows? I mean, there's a lot of development left ahead of him. So, all right, third, this was interesting. I found it interesting that this guy didn't start, but Hunter Dobbins, recently optioned from Major League Camp, came in to throw. Did he throw 2 or 3? It was 2, I think.
2 innings.
2 innings. Came out of the bullpen, maybe just kind of one of those, give him an opportunity to see what that is like in case he needs to do it in the majors type situations, because he's going to be starting the rest of camp and the rest of Worcester. They like to do that. I mean, that they say that if guys potentially could fill that role, they like to give him at least one opportunity to do it. But came out of the bullpen and threw 2 innings. Just, it's a showcase game. Came out, looked good, looked pretty good. Pretty solid. What did you see from Hunter Dobbins?
Dobbins was good. Like I think the first thing, obviously the velocity again. In the first inning, he was like 97 to 99. I think in the second inning, he kind of settled in more at like 96, 97, 95, 97. But he gave up had a couple mislocations, gave up a little bit of hard contact. Got helped by a caught stealing from Cliver Salazar. I think that was a
nice throw.
Yeah, but it was a similar thing where his first inning was like strikeout looking, ground out, single off Romero's glove that was not a lot of Romero could do, and then a fly. This was a pretty clean inning. Then when he came back for the second, the fastball, it seemed like probably the adrenaline had rushed, had kind of worn off a little bit, and he gave up a couple hits. I think 3 hits, as I said, the caught stealing helped, but he still got out of it, and it's kind of what we've seen. He topped out at 99.5. So just another huge arm. I thought the breaking ball showed some potential. It was like he's throwing like I think a cutter and a slider. Kind of it was like 87 to 91. Problem might be 2 pitches. He also showed 12 to 6 breaking ball at 77 to 79, and then the splinker in like 91, 93. So he's got an array of secondary pitches that he can use to kind of keep guys off balance. And just another solid look at Hunter Dobbins, who just every time you see him, the stuff keeps taking a step forward, and that's got to be exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if he can kind of just hone in on what the pitch mix is going to be, right? Because I mean, maybe you can use 5-6 pitches in the majors, but they just all have to be of a certain level. I'm curious what the Arsenal finalizes at, but
yeah.
I mean, hey, another injury. He's another injury away from starting in the majors, apparently, potentially. So
yeah, I mean, he's what they're down to. We're not going to really talk about the Red Sox, right, on this episode, but yeah, he's if Giolito and
they've said
Crawford and Bayo
they've said
all,
Giolito.
yeah, if they all start in the IL,
in the
then
IL.
he's probably the sixth starter because maybe Criswell, but isn't something.
We'll see what Criswell is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he could be a long guy in Boston. He could be in the AAA rotation. Who knows? So it could be Criswell, but it could be Dobbins too. It might just depend on where it lines up at that point. So yeah, he's on. When you're on the 40, you're a call away. So interesting outing from him. And then finishing the game was the chicken farmer himself, Blake Wehunt. One thing that caught me, watching from the side, I got some side video, just kind of a violent, like, drive forward sort of delivery. At least you could see it from that side. What did you see from Wehunt, who I thought looked pretty good, especially in his first inning of work?
He only threw one inning.
It was a good inning, and it was a good enough inning that I thought there might be another one.
Yeah. Do you want to redo that part?
No, it's fine. Screw it. It's fine.
Okay.
It was a long game.
He made one bad pitch and it got annihilated. He threw a cutter to Carson Williams that was just a cement mixer and did absolutely nothing. And I have video of it. I haven't put it up because I don't know why.
It's not what we do. Yeah.
But he got absolutely destroyed. And I will say that was kind of cool seeing the four top prospects in the rankings all homered in the same game. Like that's very cool. But other than that, I thought he looked good. He got 2 strikeouts, fastball 94-95. Heavy fastball coming from his plane because he's 6'8". He's a massive human being.
Yep.
Snapped off a couple good breaking balls like 83-85, mixed in a splitter at 84-86, and then a cutter 89-90. As I said, changeups came, one on a splitter against a righty, curveball against a lefty. So a couple nice break off speed pitches. I like Wehunt a lot. I think that the fallback, I completely agree with developing as a starter, especially given his size. Yep. But I think worst case, you have a guy who could be a major league bullpen arm, especially coming at 6'8", where I bet in short stints, maybe the velo even ticks up more than, it's 94-95, which is even up from last year. Mm-hmm. But if he, in short stints, I could see him being, 96, 97 eventually, if needed. But I completely agree with continuing development as a starter.
Oh yeah.
But I thought it was a nice to see him in a 1 inning stint, kind of what it looked like. And as I said, it was just one bad pitch. Like, other than that, I thought it was a very good inning.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. I mean, all in all, Ian, it struck me that this is what a spring breakout team from one of the top farm systems, if not the top farm system in the game, is going to look like. Right. I mean, that's what I came away with. Yeah.
I mean, the very deep lineup, very deep stable of arms. Just give Cooper Adams a little. He was 94-95.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Cutter, slider, changeup. Just he did his job. He came in and got out of the inning after Clarke was unable to finish it. So that was solid from Cooper Adams.
Yep, 100%. Great event. I hope they expand the event in the future and maybe make it something more. But it's a great start to do this. It just brings some excitement. So. It'll be cool to see what happens with this event in the future. Today, speaking of futures at Fenway South, the Red Sox, with a largely similar lineup, not the entirely same team. Roman Anthony was in Jupiter with the Major League Club, where apparently he's got family in the area, which is why he went out there.
And he homered and had the 2 hardest hit balls of the game.
Yeah, I mean, just continuing to do Roman Anthony things.
Not there yet, but I feel like we might get to the point where there is a discussion of how do we shoehorn Roman Anthony onto the opening day roster. Because
the opening day roster, you think?
Yeah,
I just think it's
I don't think it's very likely because he's 20,
especially with Abreu
for all the reasons we talked about. But like, are we sure he's not ready? That's all I'm saying.
No, I think he's ready. I just did a radio hit where they asked me about it, and I just said it depends on. It's about the role opening up in the majors. It's not.
Yeah,
about him.
The role is the problem.
Yeah, it's not about him at all.
I don't think my point is I don't think he's any less prepared than guys like Jackson Chourio, Jackson Merrill, et cetera, were last year.
If the Red Sox, we have an email about trading Wilyer Abreu. If the Red Sox had traded Wilyer Abreu this offseason, I would have no problem with Roman Anthony starting the year.
It's just with him, they're already. I mean. We'll talk about probably on the next episode or a future episode, but they're already basically like knocking Yoshida off the roster. So I don't know that adding another corner guy, I just don't know how he's going to play. I mean, the way is actually him in left field and Duran in center, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you got to give Rafaela, you got to let Rafaela play it out for a little bit first this year,
especially looking better in the spring. But I'm with you. So we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, today, Futures of Fenway South, like I said, similar lineup, no Anthony, no Campbell.
I don't think it was, I mean, the similarities were Romero, Meyer, and Garcia and Brandon. I guess like half the lineup. They rotated the other half.
They rotated the catcher. They put Brandon behind the plate instead of at DH.
They swapped him and Rosario. They had Earhart in left field instead of who was in left field yesterday. Oh no, Anthony wasn't.
No, Anthony was in center, but they
moved Josty to center. Josty
to center, Blason right.
Yeah, no, and then Earhart in left.
Yeah, because last night it was Blason left, Garcia in right, Anthony in center.
Yeah, and then obviously Cespedes came in at second base.
Yeah, well, because Romero instead of being at third was at short.
No, Romero was at third again.
He was at third again today. So who was at short?
Meyer was at short.
Meyer was at short. Yeah, don't mind me. Cespedes started at second base. Jordan was at first again. Right, got it. Okay, I'm just working through it in my head out loud. Okay. Anyway. Do we want to go back to the lineup or do we just keep going on pitching?
Let's just start with pitching here.
Start with pitching. All right, so the starter, go ahead. Take it away.
No, okay. You can do it if you want to.
No, I don't care. Let's go for it.
David Sandlin started, and I will say
electric.
His stuff. Well, I got a monologue. You're really cutting me off and just disrupting my flow right now.
Go ahead.
But Sandlin started, and it was him versus Connor Prelip, who ironically was a Red Sox draftee back in the day out of high school.
Yeah.
Watching those two go strikeout for strikeout for the first 2 innings was very impressive.
Yeah.
Because Sandlin struck out I think five of his first 6 batters. Or no, he struck out the first 6 hitters, I think.
I'm looking at
not 6 hitters, but like he struck out 6 in the first
2 innings. Yeah, because he had 1 strikeout that I saw and he had 7 overall. So that makes sense.
Yeah, he struck out 6 in the first 2 innings.
He struck out 7 of the 12 batters he faced overall.
Yeah, and Prelip, I believe, struck out 5 in the first 2 innings and had 6 overall in 3 innings. And he was very good. Maybe we'll talk about him when we get to the hitters. But Sandlin was, he was overpowering at first. He was like 95 to 99. Didn't hit 100, but a lot of 99s. Nope. And I think the most impressive thing is I think he had, I want to say it was 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, it was 11 swinging strikes in just the 2 innings I watched. Because for the his third inning, I was up in the booth, so I didn't get to chart it. But in the first 2 innings, he had 11 whiffs. Like, that's a lot.
Lovely. That's lovely.
And he ran into some trouble in his third inning. His first, he kind of cruised through the first 2, then ran into some trouble in the third. But overall, final line was 2 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts in 12 batters. And I think the thing that really stood out to me was just how he was getting it done with all his pitches. Like, it wasn't just he was using one pitch that was dominant. He got strikeouts on sliders, curveball, fastball, cutter, or like the 2 breaking balls that he was throwing, like the sweeper, slider, and then fastball. So, like, as I said, you can call it what you want to. It kind of, is it a cutter? Is it a gyro slider? Is it a sweeper? Is it a curveball? But on the 2 breaking balls, he got a bunch of whiffs. He got 1 strikeout on the fastball. Kind of the reverse of the lineup we saw yesterday. The Twins lineup was basically all righties, so we didn't get to see as much of the splitter from him because that's kind of the pitch he uses against lefties. I thought he threw 1 good one at 90, but when you're 96, 95 to 99 miles an hour with 2 breaking balls, one in the 85 to 88 range, and then another one at like 90 to 93, pretty impressive. And he was overpowering, and I think that he's someone who he's probably going to head to Portland to start the year as a starter, but I would not surprise me at all if late in the season he's someone they consider bringing up in a bullpen role, because I think his stuff there could be overpowering.
Yes, I actually charted his third inning. He got a couple more swinging strikes, 1 on a slider at 83, 1 on a fastball.
That's a sweeper then.
Oh, sweeper. Sorry, not slider, sweeper.
As I said, it's breaking balls. Like, let's be honest. But what people call them is varies. But that was his sweepers in the lower end, and then he's throwing like he calls it a slider, but it looks cutterish at times in the higher end.
Oh, he got 2 strikeouts in the third. So one was on the sweeper swinging, and one was he went 96 swinging strike, 94 looking, 86 looking. So that's probably the slider.
No, that's probably a sweeper.
You think that's still a sweeper?
The first thing, the sweeper for me was like 85 to 80, 84 to 86, and then the slider was like 90 to 93, or cutter, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, he was more 94, touching 94 to 95 with a couple of 3 at 96.
Yeah, the velo dropped off because obviously he was very amped up when it started, but overall, an impressive outing from David Sandlin.
Yeah. Speaking of electric, followed up by Juan Valera. who came out of the bullpen throwing absolute ched. He was the one that was 98 to 100. He's the best pitcher I saw the last 2 days, and I think you agree. I'll let you cook on Valera, who we saw for 3 innings today.
Yeah, he was ridiculously impressive, and I think I don't know if calling him the best pitcher is the right terminology. I think he has the most upside.
Best prospect, maybe.
Yeah, because I don't even know if it's that. I think it's the most upside because he's 18. Think about that. We're talking about the guy who's throwing the hardest is an 18-year-old,
and it doesn't look like it's not a max effort.
No, and I love the way he was toying with hitters. He was doing some Cueto pauses.
He does the pause. He did that last year when I saw him with Salem too. I like it.
So that was because this was the first time I'd seen him in game action outside of video. So
yeah,
I liked that the way he was doing that, kind of messing with guys. But yeah, I mean the stuff is remarkable for his age. Fastball, as you said, 97 to 100, legit 100, multiple pitches,
multiple hundreds. First 100 that I've gotten on a radar gun. That was fun.
Sort of change up at 94, and it was just oh yeah, that's a change up. And it was just we were just
it was 91 to 94.
Yeah, laughing in the stands about how we're just not even batting an eye at a 93 mile an hour change up. And that was inconsistent. He had a couple that were too seamish, but then he snapped off a devilish one that was 93 or 94 that just the bottom just completely fell off of it.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, impressive stuff there. And then breaking balls, I think it's 2 breaking balls again. I think it's a short, tight cut slider thing in the 90 to 92 mile an hour range, and then a longer sweepery slurvy breaking ball at 86 to 88.
Yeah.
But he threw a couple nice breaking balls too. Yeah, I mean overall it's the total package is there for him to be a real high end SP. Is he going to get there? We'll see.
Who knows?
Obviously it's a long way to go, but we're talking about a guy who doesn't turn 19 until mid-May, who, as we said, had thrown the hardest of any pitcher we've seen in these last 2 days, which included one of the top Twins guys, and pretty much every Rays top prospect and most of the Red Sox top prospects. The hardest thrower is an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I think the secondaries, they look better than what I expected, because talking to some scouts, that was kind of the concern with him, is they didn't know how good. Last year they were pretty inconsistent.
Yeah, they looked better than when I saw him.
I thought I saw the flashes. Obviously they're not going to be there every pitch, but seeing the flashes is definitely encouraging that he's taking a step forward with that. And yeah, he's a guy who, if he throws consistent strikes, is going to mow down low A hitters. But we'll see if the strikes are consistent, because similar to kind of what happened with Sandlin, I thought he kind of cruised, I think, for the first 2 innings. And then I believe it was in his 3rd inning that he started kind of getting hit a little bit, gave up 3 hits.
He looked like he was tiring in the 3rd.
Which is understandable, because this is his first outing against other opponents. But he had 4 strikeouts, no walks in 11 batters faced.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's probably thrown on the backfields in games.
I meant against another team game.
That's what I said. But yeah, no, I thought it was I was very impressed, and you're getting some feedback from people who had seen it, who were there too. It was pretty universal that this is a guy.
Yep, 100%. And then the last pitcher of the day was JoJo Ingracia, who went 2 1/3. With I think the last inning got rolled. Is that right?
First inning got rolled.
I knew one of the innings got rolled. 2 1/3, 1 hit, 3 walks, 3 Ks. What'd you see from JoJo Ingracia, a guy who was in the midst of breaking out last year before getting injured?
Got hurt, yeah.
Older college guy, probably going to go to Greenville to start the year. You'd want him in Portland by the end of the year. What'd you think of JoJo?
He was good. I mean, he was fine. He didn't match the previous 2s in terms of stuff. It's definitely a very different profile. I thought that his first 2 innings, he was a little he just didn't have a lot of feel. He was really struggling to find the zone, especially with the secondaries. Didn't have any feel for his fastball, really, to the point where he was basically pitching backwards for the 2nd and 3rd innings.
Yep.
But he got better as the outing went on. And I thought he really locked in for the final 3 batters of the game. He started off his final inning with a walk, and then went strikeout looking, weak pop out, strikeout swinging. And the key in that sequence was he discovered he got his breaking ball locked in. Again, I think he's throwing 2 versions of sweeper and what looked like a harder cutter slider type. Sweeper was 80, 83, 84, 85, that area. And then the other one was 86, 88. But he had some really good sweepers late in that game for strikeouts, including the final out of the game, or well, wasn't the final out of the game, the final out of the top of the ninth when the Red Sox were winning, which we'll discuss in a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, no, that was some good stuff. He threw a couple of good changeups. Changeup was like 86 to 89. Fastball was 93 to 95. So not a ton of separation when he's on the higher end, but he had some good shape on one of them. Had really like pulled the string on it. So he's an intriguing guy. I don't know if, it's not the same type of, power profile or upside, I think, as you're looking with like Sandlin and Valera, but this is a guy who I think, at worst you can dream on like a lefty reliever.
Yeah.
And I think you continue to develop as a starter, see if the stuff continues to take a step forward.
Agreed. Yeah. So we'll see him probably at Greenville this year. Valera, do you send Valera straight to Greenville?
He probably goes to Salem for a month or two. Let him dominate there. I was just looking. He only threw like 20 innings there, 23 innings there.
It's also because he just wasn't throwing more than like 3 or 4 at a time.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he only threw 63 innings last year, so he's probably only going to jump to like 100 this year.
Yep.
So I could see the case for bumping him, but I think you give him a month, which is maybe 15, 20 innings, and if he's dominant, that's when that's when you jump him.
100%. Shall we go to the lineup?
Sure.
At the top of the lineup is third baseman Mikey Romero, who, as you alluded to, did go deep today. Had another great day. Did you take notes on what the bomb was? Maybe like what he hit, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, it was a 94 mile power fastball that was a little middle up, like little away from him, and he just got extended and drove it deep to center field, like deepest part of the ballpark.
Yep.
It's a great swing. I mean, it was picture perfect swing,
Yep.
Exactly what you want. I think Josh Norris from Baseball America is going to have some video of it probably by the time this is posted or within the next 24 hours or so. So check it out for there because I didn't get any video of it. But it was a great swing. And it continued. I was watching him pretty closely in the morning. He was taking BP on one of the fields. So I was out there and watched him take like a full round of BP. And he was driving the ball like he just didn't last year. Like pretty easy pull side home runs. He even hit a couple oppo ones. And overall, just the quality of contact and how hard he was hitting the ball was very noteworthy, and it just carried over to the game, which was very impressive. He also got in his first pretty tough at bat against as we said, a very tough lefty, Connor Prelip, who was 96 to 99 with like 3 secondaries with good feel for. It was very impressive. And he went swinging fastball, swinging slider, swinging or cutter, swinging away. So 3 straight whiffs to start the game, but it was nice to bounce back in his third at bat and get that home run.
Yep. Let's not get to the other home run quite yet. We can close with the other home run in that whole situation. But some other guys worth mentioning. Miguel Bleis doubled, which was interesting. Did you see anything interesting from Bleis in the lineup? We haven't really talked too much about him.
Yeah, no, he put a good swing. I believe it was a fastball. I don't remember. I didn't write it down, but it was up in the zone and he just hit it off the wall. Just missed a home run. I think he was a little under it, but nice swing. After seeing him for 2 games, the swing, he's still got this hand thing that kind of bothers me. And I think it's why he ends up coming around the ball and why he hits so many infield pop-ups is the hand movement. Like he brings him like down and back before coming through. And I just think it's hard for him to get, I think, to get on plane with that, which I don't know. Yeah. I mean, but it's something he's still doing after a couple of years, which tells me I don't think they think it's changeable. So we'll see with him. But I mean, the tools are like the double showed off the raw tools and he flew around the bases to get to second. But it's just the hit tool is the big question here. And I think there's a lot of variance with that hit tool that we're still unsure about.
Justin Garcia tripled. I was in the stands for that one. He went deep to the triangle, almost put it out. I was kind of surprised it didn't get out.
Yeah, it hit like the top of the wall or near the top of the wall.
The triangle taketh away, basically. So nice, put a nice swing on that one. He, good year last year. Interested to see what he does coming into this year. Going back to Portland to start most likely, and we'll see how quick he can get up to Worcester potentially. The other guy
that created a very funny situation where I think it was second and third with Meyer on second and Bleis. No, it was first and second with Meyer on first and Bleis on second. And Bleis was like waiting at second to tag, and Meyer was basically standing 3 feet behind him, just waiting to touch second base because they were waiting to see if the fly ball was going to be caught. And as soon as it hit, they basically were just running around the bases right behind each other.
Together,
Meyer scored a second after Blaze did, which was funny to watch. Just the visual of the two of them basically, stride for stride running around the bases.
Go, go, go. Yeah. I should mention Garcia did have a couple of good throws yesterday. I mentioned today, though, he did have one where he like weirdly didn't throw the ball back in. And
that
wound up scoring.
Well, so what happened was I think it was a single to center field, and the guy was on second.
Yes.
And he clearly did not. There was a miscommunication or something. He clearly did not think the guy was going to try and score, and the guy saw him kind of going to the ball nonchalantly and just scored easily because he was holding it. It was weird.
He was holding it. He didn't go to a nonchalant. He fielded it and then just didn't throw it to anybody.
He also didn't field it though. I thought he didn't field it in a position where he was ready to make a throw home.
Sure, but
he fielded it off to the side like he was throwing it into the cutoff guy, and then he's like, then he realized that the guy was trying to score.
I think there was also maybe no cutoff guy was the weird part. But
no, there was a cutoff guy to second base. There was I don't think there was a cutoff guy to home plate.
Yeah.
So just a miscommunication, but something that kind of mistake that in this game doesn't matter that much, but something you can't be doing when you're in the big leagues.
The other guy I wanted to mention was Yoel Cespedes, who started at second base, played the whole game, and had a couple of doubles. What'd you see out of Cespedes today? I mean, we've talked about. I mean, it's crazy bat speed, and we'll see what happens with the rest of it. I think it is the headline there. Right?
Yeah, I mean, this game I think summed it up perfectly. Like his third at bat, which was his first double, he just whiffed on two sliders, was just miles in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to triple up in a slider. He stayed back this time and just lined it down the line for a double. And it was, his bat speed, his bat is so quick that it's just, I think it's hard to keep his swing get his timing down because he's so far out. And I think he's got an aggressive approach by nature, but he's got to really tighten up his pitch recognition. I don't think he reads spin very well right now. And as a result, he's just consistently way out in front of breaking balls and has a lot of swing and miss in his game. But when he makes contact, I mean, the ball goes really hard because he just swings so hard. And so that was a nice swing. Previous double was the same thing. He expanded versus a slider and then on 0-1, or excuse me, to get to 0-1. And then he this time he got a fastball up and it goes down in the book as a double. This was a fly out to left field that the left field.
Oh, that was the one the guy dropped.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, he didn't drop it. He didn't touch it. So it was
he just lost it in the sun. Yeah.
I mean, it was a big league pop up. Like this thing was miles high and it was up there forever. And you could tell as soon as I saw where it was, I was like, there's no chance he's catching this because you could see he was not close to where it was landing. I think
the guy didn't move. He didn't move. He just had his glove up, clearly trying to find it.
Yeah, and it landed like 15 feet to his left. And did you see the way it landed? It literally died in the dirt like it was a pitching wedge, on a par 3. Like it just divoted in the ground, which was pretty funny.
Nice.
But yeah, it goes down as a double in the book. So we'll just say it was a missile line drive to center when it was really should have been a fly out to left. But the other double was very impressive. There's video of that. There's video of that up on my Twitter. So you can check it out there.
All right. End of the game. So the Red Sox are winning. They get the last out of the top of the 9th. Dirty Water plays. I'm in the press box. They announced the time of the game. All the fans are leaving. This, people in the stands are leaving.
The Red Sox personnel, they're left.
Yeah.
Everyone left. The scouts left. Everyone was leaving. Until
and here come the Red Sox. Here come the Twins to pitch in the bottom of the 9th. And we look up and there's more baseball. Did Gonzales lead off that inning?
No,
I don't think he let off because what happened was...
No, what happened was they got 3 outs.
They got
very
3 outs.
Quickly.
Which in the box...
quickly, in fact.
So they get 3 outs very quickly. And in the box, they announce, okay, actual time of the game is 2 hours and 41 minutes. Okay, I look down. I look up to see Justin Gonzales try to the plate because we are, in fact, still not done.
Because the guy was so efficient that he clearly had a pitch minimum that
they
he
wanted to get
hit,
him more,
and he needed to get another hitter to get there.
Yeah, they wanted to be doing another 2 or 3 hitters, didn't they? Because Gonzales he didn't finish the game.
No, I think
they would at least another couple.
No, it was one more. Arias lined out next.
Okay, yeah. But so Justin Gonzales strides to the plate, who we've talked about here.
Well, because it was a first pitch with Gonzales, so it didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. They definitely went further. And so he strides to the plate and absolutely croaks one over the monster, right?
That was a cement mixer slider that did nothing, but he just absolutely annihilated it.
I mean, the audible gasp in the stands outside the press box where I was.
People were like, guys behind the plate were like, 18 years old. He just did that. And we'll talk about it probably in a future episode because I want to see more of it. He's got a weird stance and for someone his size because he makes himself smaller, even though he's 6'4".
He looks like the stance that you would expect a middle infielder to have. It's weird.
It's not a power hitter stance, but then he does that, and it's like, okay, that works. But he does really coil up and just like explode through the ball with his hips. So that was, I mean, he destroyed this pitch, and I can't
believe we didn't get video.
Yeah, there's no video of it anywhere. But I was not prepared at all. As I put a formal apology on Twitter for it because I was not prepared.
We all forgive you.
I got fooled by at what Chris talked about with Dirty Water playing and the Red Sox winning after 9 innings and there being 3 outs and everything. But, rookie mistake on my part, do better. I probably won't be the last time I see him hit home run this spring. So we'll do better next time. He also had another hit in the game, which actually I almost think was more impressive because he got a 3-1 fastball in 91 miles an hour. And for as big as he is, his swing is not that long. Like he was able to pull his hands in on a fastball and just hit it hard. Like I think it was just past the shortstop for a ground ball single. I do have video of that. That is on Twitter. And I like just seeing him do that was like, okay, I get that. Cause I've seen a few at bats from him in on Wednesday. And he hit the ball hard in that game too. I think he hit one off the very top of the wall, just missed a home run in that game. And physically, like him being 18 is insane. He's like, speaking of guys, I don't know what he's listed on. I think he's 6'4", 210 on the roster or something.
I'll find it. Yeah.
He is 6'5", probably 230. Like there's not a lot of projection in the frame. I'm not sure where he's going to play defensively, but
he is listed at 6'4", 210. Yeah, you have.
Yeah, he's like
not correct.
He's 6'5", 230. I would guess.
And he played him in right today, which was interesting.
I thought he played left today.
It's right on the box score.
Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't. He did play right because Azokar was the throw.
Was left. Yep.
But I saw him at first base a couple days ago, so we'll see on the defense, and it's probably going to put some pressure on the bat. But there's legit juice in his bat. Like this is what I want to see more of it. Because as I said, it's gonna this might be a slower of a burn too because the profile is going to put so much pressure on the bat. But if he continues to hit, definitely a very interesting guy going forward.
Yep. Heck of a couple of days, heck of a start to the trip. Looking forward to what else we're going to get. Keep an eye on all the socials.
Well, we're not going to. Can I talk about a few more things?
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Go for it. What you got?
I'm just going to rapid fire. Franklin Arias hit the ball hard twice today. I saw him on Wednesday, had a missile, just missed a home run off the center field wall. Definitely looks bigger than he did last year, which is encouraging.
Yes.
He's twitchy at the plate. He's hitting, he's making consistent hard line drive contact. I'm not sure how much like overall, over the fence power he's eventually going to get to, but I liked the swing. I liked what I've seen so far from him, even though it's not showing up in the box score. I
like him at short too. He looks good at short.
We'll see. I mean, I haven't seen enough, but yeah.
I mean, for what I've seen so far.
Credit to Blaze Jordan. He got yesterday. He hit 2 absolute missiles just right at Carson Williams. Unfortunately, he hit the ball really hard yesterday, and then today he had a nice. He got on base I think 4 times. I think it was 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and he had a sac fly. So it was 2. He got on base 3 times. It was 2 walks and a single, and then a sac fly. He had the first hit of the game off Breelip. It might have been the Red Sox only hit off of Breelip actually. Now that I think about it, so a couple of some nice at bats today from Blaze. I think the encouraging thing for me today was that he was being a little more patient. Like yesterday, I thought he was aggressive. He was doing his usual, first, second pitch. He's swinging. Today, I thought he had some better quality of at bats, especially leading to those 2 walks later in the game. So nice game from Blaze. I thought Blaze Jordan, that is. I should have to specify.
Yeah, I didn't want to jump in and correct you, but yeah, Blaze Jordan. I want to say, I think there was one at bat yesterday where he got to a full count because I remember we were talking in the booth about how he needs to see more pitches and work some longer at bats, and he did that in that game yesterday. So, and
then just shout out to what's it, Endy Azokar? What's his name?
Endy, ENDDY, Endy Azokar, AZOCAR.
Yeah, I
was one of the nondescript guys who came up from the DSL.
It's actually 2 D's in his name. I don't know. Did you say that? Oh, you did. Okay. He was not someone who was really on my radar, but it's a decent frame. He looks pretty athletic, and he had a very nice throw to throw out a guy at second base on a double. Or I guess it was a single. It was a single. So
single that he tried to make a double.
But yeah, so that was a nice throw.
Good call.
And then
because there was a certain amount of everyone in the stands was like, wait, who's that guy? Because no one knew. Who it was.
We were confused because everyone was confused because we didn't have a Twins roster. There was no Twins lineup until they put it up on the video board during the game.
Right.
People were just subbing in and out. Like, it was very confusing.
It was a backfields game.
In a stadium. It was not as organized as it was yesterday, which is understandable because yesterday's was on MLB Network. It was a showcase game, whereas today was a Red Sox thing.
Yeah.
With that said, please do more of that. It was awesome to see the guys in the stadium. I'm glad the Twins took it seriously and brought Prelip over. That was very cool. Apparently, Charlie Soto, by the way, threw on the backfield. So that's what I want. He's their top pitching prospect.
Yes.
He threw on the backfields game.
Jimmer was saying that, yeah.
But yeah, it was cool to see Prelip. I thought the Twins brought some other guys who had some velo. They had some nice young guys in the lineup, a couple of their, high picks. So it was cool to see the Twins take it pretty seriously too. And I'm fine with rolling innings, honestly. So that was cool.
I'm surprised they don't do it more because you've got this ballpark. You've got fans in town. If the Major League Club isn't there, charge maybe half price and do BOGO. Like, I mean,
they sold 5,000 plus tickets today at charging. I don't know what it was, but I think it was the tickets range from like $5 to $25 or something.
Like why
you can
wouldn't
easily
you do that?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think it's just for me. It's MLB. The thing it needs to be better at marketing his own game, and it's events like this which draw eyes. They get people in the stadium. They introduce these younger players to the audience. Like, there are going to be a lot of fans who were there today who'd never heard of Juan Valera, and now are going to go look up and see, hey, what's this? Who's this guy? I saw him hit 100, which I guess it didn't because they weren't showing velos on the scoreboard.
Well, but there's like a father with his kid sitting in front of me while I had the gun.
Yeah, he's asking.
I said, like, hey, he just hit trips. Like,
So it's like just more of this, like, whether it be during the regular season, maybe bring back like the Futures at Fenway legitimate thing they used to do in the summer when they bring up the affiliates from out of town, bring them and let them play at Fenway. Like, just do more stuff like this, showcase the game. Like, it's easy, it's free marketing more or less, and these are the guys who are the future of the sport. And so any chance you have to expose them to the public is, I think, worthwhile.
Well, and especially if you're going to, apparently we should mention for anyone who wants to come down, the backfields are closed off to everyone but family. So if you're going to do that, which is a choice, maybe they have their reasons. That's how you get eyes on these guys. You do it in the stadium.
Yeah, you can come down in the morning and watch them work out, but the games itself are not open to the public.
Yep. Okay. Anything else from the last 2 days before I rudely cut you off like I did just now? Okay, beautiful. So I guess we've only got 2 emails. We can hit those real quick and we'll send it home. And our first email is from Daniel. And he says, is there any outcome other than Trevor Story getting hurt where you can see Marcelo Meyer making the big leagues before Roman Anthony or Christian Campbell? To me, that's an obvious no, but I think let's trade that question in for, is there an outcome where Marcelo Meyer makes the majors outside of Trevor Story getting hurt this year? I think that's a little bit more.
I mean, it's tricky. Question. Well, no, I guess the way would be if like something happens to Bregman, like you
play him at third.
Yeah.
But then if you've got Devers sitting right there, like that's, I guess it depends on when in the year.
If Devers
he's been DHing for 3 months,
I'm not doing that. So I think there is a pathway. It's just going to be like, I think he's going to force their hand though. Like if he goes out there and rakes in Worcester and June 1st, he's hitting, 350. That's when you start being like, do we have to find a way for this? But a lot of it is going to be injury and health dependent. And as we've seen with the starting pitching staff, I think, stuff's going to happen. So it's good to have depth. There's nothing wrong with Marcelo Meyer spending the entire season in AAA. And similarly, if he rakes and he's up by June 1st and he forces the issue, that is a great outcome also. So,
and the thing to keep in mind with all 3 of the big 3 is none of them are on the 40-man roster. So calling them up not only requires there being room on the active roster, but you need to remove someone from the 40-man roster to add them, which can happen. It can be done, but it's also just that's part of the equation. And it's not just as simple as Marcelo Meyer is raking, let's get him up. There are other things that have to happen for that to happen. So that's part of it. Ian, our other question for this episode comes from James, and he asks, will the Red Sox regret not trading Wilyer Abreu this offseason? And more specifically, will they regret not including him in the Crochet deal? Taking the second part of that first, he feels like they should have substituted Abreu for Braden Montgomery, or at the very least Kyle Teal. We don't know that would have gotten it done.
I mean, if they had got it done, I'm going to guess they would have done that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's not that simple of why didn't they use this guy instead? We don't know what the White Sox
teams don't value. It's not like an apples to apples comparison.
No, so for a team like the White Sox that is not going to compete this year,
it doesn't make sense to acquire a guy who's got MLB service time, who's he's going to be. So this is his second year of rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Like their timeline is 2 to 3 years down the road, by the time of which Abreu would be second year of ARB, something like that, third year of ARB. That just doesn't make sense for their timeline. Guys like Montgomery and Teal would be much more interesting to them, in my opinion.
And as for the first part of the question, will they regret not trading him? Because he's basically saying he thinks that, when you've got Roman Anthony potentially pushing his way up, could a guy like Abreu lose value? I don't think he loses value by staying in the lineup. He loses value if he somehow regresses significantly. But again, in fact, you could say that about literally any player. So I don't know why I wouldn't predict Abreu to lose value. And if anything, look, like it's not like other teams don't realize that he sat against left-handed pitchers last year. Teams know this.
Yeah.
If he can go out this year and show that he can hit against left-handed pitching this year, which they're apparently going to give him the shot to play against more lefties.
They should. I mean, you need to see what he is.
Absolutely. So,
if he doesn't hit against lefties, fine. He's still what he is last year. If he does hit against lefties, that's a guy who's probably a perennial all-star.
Yep.
Or maybe not a perennial all-star, but he's a
solid regular.
A solid regular,
which is extremely valuable.
Because when I was thinking with the all-star, I forget that they don't really care that much about defense for the all-star game. That's like a offensive statistics award or recognition. So I was thinking with his defense, but if he comes out and he's like a 20 home run guy who hits 260 with like a 330 OBP, 475 slug with, Gold Glove caliber defense, that's a huge asset or a huge player. And you don't want to, you're not just going to give up on a guy like that.
100%. All right, well, let's wrap it up, Ian. We got to go eat. I'm starving. So thank you all for listening. Thanks to our producer, Daniel Fox. You can follow the site on social media at SoxProspects. You can follow Ian at Ian Cundall, and you can follow me at SP Chris Hatfield. I'm putting everything now on both Twitter, Blue Sky, and Threads. So all three of them. Thank God for, I don't even remember what it's called, whatever the app is that I'm using, Buffer, to post all three at the same time. So it's a beautiful thing. Thank you for everyone who supports us on patreon.com/SoxProspects. This episode, we'd like to thank Michael Stewart, Caleb Farron, Jason Stoneburner, Grayson Sinnard, Stephen G. Shaw, Jason Parker, Mike Granger, Jeff Richardson, Dan Gillen, and Paul Manish. Thank you all for your support. And thank you to the Ludlow Thieves for our intro and outro music, All the Money. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back with our spring training wrap-up probably, Ian, in however many days it winds up being, a week.
We'll be back when
days.
We're back.
We'll be back soon. Keep your ears to the feed. Be back in your eardrums soon. Thanks, everybody.